This video contains AI-generated narration and visuals. It is intended for educational and storytelling purposes only. June 15th, 2013. Burleson, Texas. A quiet summer night turns deadly. 16-year-old Ethan Couch, drunk and behind the wheel of his father's red Ford F-350, loses control of the truck. He crashes into a group of Good Samaritans helping a stranded motorist. The wreck kills 4 people instantly. Ethan walks away without a scratch. But this is just the beginning of a case that will shock the entire nation. The crash killed 4 innocent people: youth pastor Brian Jennings, mother and daughter Holly and Shelby Boyles, and Brianna Mitchell, whose SUV had broken down. They were simply trying to help a stranger. 11 others were injured, including one of Ethan's passengers, paralyzed for life. The community was devastated, but no one could predict how the justice system would respond. Ethan Couch wasn't your average teen. Raised in luxury, with wealthy parents who often ignored boundaries, he grew up with no sense of consequences. On the night of the crash, Ethan's blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit for an adult. He had stolen beer, taken Valium, and packed 7 passengers into his truck. But this reckless teen was about to become the face of a controversial legal defense. Police arrived quickly. Witnesses described the crash as horrific. Ethan was uncooperative but clearly intoxicated. He was arrested on the spot. As investigators pieced together the events, they realized this was more than just a tragic accident. It was the result of unchecked privilege and parental neglect. The stage was set for one of the most controversial trials in recent memory. Ethan's defense attorney made a stunning claim. Ethan suffered from affluenza, a term suggesting he was too rich to understand right from wrong. A psychologist argued that Ethan's wealthy, indulgent upbringing left him unable to grasp consequences. The courtroom was stunned. Could privilege really be used as a legal excuse for killing 4 people? News of the affluenza defense exploded across the nation. Headlines mocked the idea that wealth could excuse deadly behavior. Talk shows, legal experts, and the public were outraged. For many, it symbolized everything wrong with the justice system, a system where money could seemingly buy freedom. The courtroom became a lightning rod for public fury. Despite the severity of the crime, Judge Jean Boyd sentenced Ethan Couch to 10 years probation and mandated rehabilitation at a privileged facility. No jail time. The ruling shocked the victims' families and the public. Many saw it as a miscarriage of justice, proof that money and status could buy leniency in the courts. Ethan entered the rehab facility, but the story didn't end there. Within months, reports surfaced that he was partying, drinking, and skipping therapy. His privileged lifestyle seemed to shield him from real consequences. The public's anger grew, fueling demands for justice and accountability. Ethan's probation didn't last long. He violated its terms multiple times, partying, drinking, and skipping curfews. The court was forced to reconsider his case. The public watched closely, hoping for a stricter punishment that reflected the gravity of his actions. In December 2015, Ethan Couch and his mother, Tanya, disappeared, violating the terms of his probation. A nationwide manhunt ensued. They were found in Mexico days later, living lavishly despite being fugitives. Their flight further ignited public outrage, deepening the debate on privilege and accountability. Authorities arrested Ethan and Tanya in Mexico and deported them back to the U.S. Their return sparked fierce debate. Many demanded harsher punishment, seeing their flight as blatant disregard for the law. The case once again spotlighted how wealth seemed to bend justice. After their capture, Ethan faced new legal charges for violating probation. This time, the judge sentenced him to 720 days in jail. The sentence was seen by many as overdue justice, though some argued it still didn't fit the seriousness of his original crime. The Ethan Couch case ignited a nationwide conversation about wealth, privilege, and the fairness of the justice system. Was affluenza a legitimate medical condition, or just an excuse for the rich to evade punishment? Experts, lawmakers, and citizens debated fiercely, demanding reforms to prevent wealth from becoming a get-out-of-jail-free card. Victims' families courageously shared their pain and frustration. They spoke about the lasting impact of the crash and the feeling that justice had not been served. Their voices fueled public demand for accountability and change in the legal system's handling of privilege and responsibility. Ethan's mother, Tanya Couch, was charged with hindering apprehension and money laundering. Prosecutors accused her of funding their escape and obstructing justice. Once seen as a permissive parent, Tanya now stood trial for her role in helping Ethan flee the country. Ethan Couch became more than just a defendant. He became a symbol. For many, he represented a broken system where privilege outweighed accountability. Documentaries, news specials, and online campaigns kept his name in the spotlight, turning public anger into lasting advocacy. Ethan served his 720-day jail sentence, a far cry from the years others might have received for such a deadly crime. Inside, he reportedly kept a low profile. For the public, it was a moment of delayed justice. But for the victims' families, it was never enough. Ethan Couch was released in April 2018. Now in his 20s, he returned to a world that hadn't forgotten. Though free, he remained on probation and under strict supervision. Every move was watched by a public still skeptical, still angry, and still questioning whether true justice had ever been served. The Affluenza case left a lasting mark on American legal history. Though not a recognized diagnosis, it exposed glaring flaws in how wealth can influence justice. Law schools, ethics panels, and reform advocates continue to cite Ethan Couch's case as a cautionary tale of privilege unchecked. Years later, the Affluenza case still raises a haunting question. Can wealth ever be an excuse for destroying lives? For the victims' families, the pain remains. For the public, the case is a warning, a reminder that justice must be blind, not bought. Ethan Couch's name is forever tied to a courtroom loophole that sparked a national reckoning.